I'm Nick Wilmshurst, and this is the Ginger Wizard Productions Podcasting Masterclass, Episode 3. In this episode, we're going to talk about how you get the best sound for your podcast, and that all begins with this, the thing you're listening to me through, the microphone. There really are many different types, which I'm sure you know if you've looked into buying one. So what's the right type for you? Well, a dynamic mic is generally considered to be better for podcasters. The other main type you've probably seen kicking around is called a condenser mic. Now, condensers aren't bad mics at all. They serve a very good purpose, but they're a lot more sensitive than dynamic mics, which means they pick up a lot more sound. A lot of people with proper, nice, soundproof studios use them, and we'll talk more about making a room into a studio in a few moments. The other thing I'm using, which you may be considering buying, is a pop shield. This stops me popping the mic when I speak, primarily with P's. So let me demonstrate. I've got it on at the minute. Peter ate a piccalilli, the prat. That's a little P thing I've come up with there. Okay, so that's with the mic shield on. Let's take it off. Peter ate piccalilli, the prat. I hope you heard the difference there. While we're talking about microphones, let's talk about how close you need to be. I'm about 6 inches away from this microphone at the minute. Let's listen to Too Far Away. Can you hear me? And maybe a little bit too close. So just sort of set the level for you, which sounds great. I think about this level for me is just right. Buying the right mic can feel very confusing and daunting, as they can also be very expensive. I'm using the Shure MV7, but there are plenty of others on the market. And for a decent brand new one, you can be looking at in the region of about £150. For a decent cheap one, look more towards £80-ish. So in a few minutes, I'm going to get out of this little studio and show you some techniques on cleaning up your audio. But let's just talk about the room you record in. In reality, most rooms in your house are probably acoustically dreadful. Sorry to break this to you. They'll likely be a little too echoey, which you may not notice when you're in the room. But for your listeners, it might be far from ideal. You can think about trying to what audio people would call deaden the room. Now, if you're rich, you could think about professionally soundproofing it with those sort of spongy tiles. But for the rest of us, a few duvets placed on the walls or even over your head, yes, seriously, will do fine. Oh, and quickly, let's talk about mic stands. No question, get one. Otherwise, you'll get all of this nonsense as you hold the mic. Oof, no thank you. Now, some of you listening to this might be doing so because you've already recorded your show, and in some cases, the audio hasn't quite turned out the way you wanted it to. It happens to all of us at some point, but luckily, I have a range of tools that can help. So let's make some bad audio and fix it. Okay, so to demonstrate this, I've actually come up to my bathroom, the most echoey place in my entire house. But don't worry, I am fully clothed. So this, as you can hear, is probably why people don't record very much in bathrooms at all. And the sound in here, if you were listening to this podcast, would get pretty irritating after just a few seconds. And the last thing you want to do is turn people off from your wonderfully prepared podcast. So let's do some ginger wizardry. See what I did there to this? I'm now going to put an effect on through our editing software so that you can hear what the difference is. I'll turn it on now. Now, already you can hear that the sound is different. And what the software is doing is it's digitally removing the echo, and it does a fairly good job. But the keen-eared amongst you will realise that the sound is slightly different, maybe a bit flatter, and that's just all due to the digital processing. The best thing really to do is sort out the room and the sound so you don't have to do this. But I guess the reason that I am showing you this is if you have got something recorded, we can do stuff with it. As you can probably tell, I've brought you outside again. I'm actually on the school run to go and pick up my daughter from school. And the reason we've come outside again is to illustrate what we can do with even the most extreme of audio turnaround jobs. Because as I told you before, recording outside can be really, really tricky. It can make your edits really difficult. And you've got to think about things like wind. For example, it's very, very, very windy today. Hopefully, you shouldn't be noticing that too much. But with our ginger wizardry, which is a joke which is never going to wear out, we can clean up even the most extreme audio problems and make them nice again. So, I'm just going to describe to you what's going on as I'm walking down to school. It's a fairly sort of windy day and the clouds are very grey. Probably looks like it's going to rain in a minute. And then later on I'm going to go home, cook some tea and put my feet up and get ready to go to bed because I'm always very tired. Now you can probably hear that there has been a huge change in the audio. Yeah, sure, it's all cleaned up and sounds nice, but it is slightly different to what you were listening to a few minutes ago. So as you can hear, we've lost a lot of that background noise. Things are a lot cleaner, my voice is a lot less outdoorsy. Now, and this is an extreme example, a really extreme example. Really, we probably would never need to do this for you, but it just goes to show you that even if you have some pretty nasty audio that you need fixing, we can probably sort it out. And finally, here we are in another kind of environment, a very, very noisy video games arcade. I thought I'd treat my daughter to a post-school treat. Are you looking forward to playing on some games?
Yes.
Good. But really, I've come down here to show you a little something about microphones. At the moment, I'm using a little recorder that has a stereo unidirectional condenser microphone on the top of it. It sounds lovely under the right conditions, and I hope you can hear me all right in a minute. But in here, it's probably a bit much background noise. So, what I've done is I've brought my usual podcasting mic with me. So let's switch to that, and hopefully you'll hear a bit of difference. So, as I was telling you earlier, this mic is far less sensitive and therefore is picking up a lot less of the background noise in here. People will often ask if you need a quiet room when you go out to record, but I always thought, what's the point in that? I want to hear what's going on. And I think it can really add to the audio you get to. One trick here, by the way, if you do want to do this, is go and record in a quieter room with the person you want to talk to, or record whatever you want to record. Remember, it does give you more control in post-production. And when you come to edit your audio, it's a lot easier. But why not record some atmosphere from the place that you're recording in and mix that into your recording later?
Come on, Daddy, I want to go play.
Right, better go get some gaming done. And you know what? We had a really lovely time. The annoying thing is that my daughter is so much better at Street Fighter 2 than I am. I can't get over it. Anyway, that's microphones. If you need advice, please do get in touch. The email address is nick@gingerwizard.co.uk. In the next episode, we'll be looking at how music can shape your podcast and give it a completely different feel, and ultimately help you get your message out there. See you in episode 4.